You all asked for it, so here it is. I had so many messages coming in asking if I planned on doing Halloween this year, and the answer, of course, is yes. And I'm so excited because maybe you already know this, but my birthday is the day before Halloween. So I've just grown up loving the holiday, the fun and cutesy side, not so much the gory, scary side. But you let me know down in the comments below. Are you a fan of Halloween? I would love to know. So as you can see behind me, I've done a little bit of Halloween decorating in the kitchen for the coffee bar. It's a whole Sleepy Hollow theme this year. But besides that, I also have lots of great and inexpensive, quick, easy Dollar Tree Halloween DIYs I want to share with you today in this video. So let's jump right in. All right, so first up, I have these adorable little ghost wooden cutouts from Dollar Tree. There are 8 in a pack. We're only gonna need 1 for this project. This would be really cute to make a banner with too. What I'm gonna do is actually have these leftover wooden white beads from another project. I thought I'd make a cute little ghost garland for just like a table decor piece. So first up, I'm just giving my ghost wood cutout a coat of white chalk paint. And then here's a little tip. Take a mason jar and put your jute inside there. You can also hammer a nail through the lid to create a hole, and then you can pull your jute up through that hole. This keeps your jute from running around on you so it doesn't roll off the table as you are working. And then you can keep your tails long on your projects and not have to cut them down to size right off the bat. And that's kind of how I like to work whenever I'm creating something. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be. So what I did is I just literally added every single white bead that I had onto this jute, tied my ghost onto one end, which was really nice. Dollar Tree's ghosts have holes in them already, so that made it really, really easy. And then just tied off the other end so that my beads would stay in place. These are super quick and easy, and they make really cute little display pieces for tiered trays or on a coffee table in an entryway. You can really use these just about anywhere for your cute Halloween decor. And now for this one, we're gonna combine a Dollar Tree mason jar and solar light to make a pumpkin. So ultimately, I want my pumpkin to be a little bit see-through because we're gonna put this light inside of the mason jar. And in order to do that, I didn't want to just paint the mason jar solid with a regular paint. So what we're gonna do is experiment a little bit. I've never tried this before, but it makes sense in my head, so we're gonna try it out. I'm gonna add a little bit of orange acrylic paint to Mod Podge and see if I get more of a translucent look. So what I did is just poured some Mod Podge into a bowl and dripped a few little drops of acrylic orange paint using a foam paintbrush, just stirring it around so it was all incorporated really well and evenly, and then used that to paint one coat onto my mason jar. And now we're gonna need the ring off of the mason jar, but not the lid that sits on top, because we're gonna insert this light down into the middle. I wanted this to look like the stem of the pumpkin, so the entire gold ring as well as the silver part on our solar light got a couple coats of green acrylic paint. And I was definitely happy with this end result. So this was a experiment that actually went right, luckily. So I got that transparent look that I was going for with the orange. And once it was completely dry, I came in with a black paint pen to draw my jack-o'-lantern face. Then once everything is dry, you can go ahead and turn that lid onto your mason jar and just sit the solar light right down on top of there. I would suggest if you're gonna put this outside to use a waterproof adhesive to glue that in there so you don't get water on the inside of your jar. But this can also go inside in a windowsill or even under a covered patio or porch, so that way you can sit it outside too. Super cute, and I love that this is a daytime and nighttime piece. All right, so now this one I'm really excited to make. Dollar Tree has these satin pillowcases. They come in a package that looks like this. I thought it'd be really fun to try to create a Halloween throw pillow with this. So I went ahead and cut out some heat transfer vinyl with my Cricut machine. However, if you don't have a Cricut or a vinyl cutter, you can just use fabric paint and hand do this. You can even use fabric markers. I kind of wished I would have had some orange vinyl, which I didn't. So we're gonna go with white for this, but I'm gonna go ahead, and this guy has all kinds of wrinkles in it. So I need to iron this out, weed this out, and apply it. And then we can stuff it and see what it turns out and looks like. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of questions about my shirt and my earrings. I will make sure to link those down in the description box, along with any of the tools and supplies that I'm using throughout this video. So definitely check down there if you have any questions about some of the things that I'm using. But of course, always use your stash and what you have on hand first before you go out and purchase something new. Now I'm going to be using my Easy Press to iron out this fabric along with applying my HTV to the front. However, don't feel like you have to have an Easy Press to apply HTV to your projects. You definitely do not. You can actually use a regular iron. On the highest setting, you just want to use a lot of pressure, count down in 30-second increments, and then peel off and test as you go until you can get the whole thing transferred onto your project. Now you have to excuse my camera strap from hanging down there in the corner, but all I'm doing here is just stuffing my pillow with an insert that I already had on hand. And then to close it up, I am folding that extra fabric up and underneath, kind of creating a seam, and then using some fabric hot glue to close that seam up. You could even sew this if you prefer. These cute bats definitely grabbed my attention too at Dollar Tree. They come 4 in a pack, so they're only $1/4 each, but they are covered in lots of glitter. So a tip here is to actually spray them down with some aerosol hairspray, and that'll keep them from shedding so much. They also have little clips on the back. So I grabbed this black vase from Dollar Tree too, and I'm gonna be adding some branches that were just dead on the ground, grab them up, and added those to the vase and then clipped the bats on. Super quick and easy and a $3 project. And I would also love to know, what is your favorite Halloween movie? Whether it's scary or cute or family friendly, let me know down in the comments below. Mine is definitely The Nightmare Before Christmas. Brian and I are so lovey-dovey, and we just love Jack and Sally and their love story. I also couldn't pass up these adorable cookie cutters from Dollar Tree, except we're not going to use them to make cookies. We're going to use them to make air dry clay pieces. So Dollar Tree even has the terracotta colored air dry clay that you can use, but I want to paint mine. So I'm using white air dry clay for this, and just, you want to warm it up, make it pliable, make it soft, just like you would with cookies. A tip here is to make sure your work surface and your hands are very clean though when you go to work with white clay, because it will take on any kind of paint or dirt or dust that might be around. And if you want it to be white, definitely make sure your surface and your tools are clean too. So once I had this all smoothed out, I went ahead and cut out my shapes. I let these sit overnight and then came in and just used some black chalk paint to paint them out and added them to my cute little tiered tray. These would also be really cute if you added magnets to the back, put little holes in them, and use them as ornaments or decorative pieces around your house. So the house on the right is a Dollar Tree Halloween piece that I grabbed, but the one on the left I'm gonna repurpose because I used this originally as a Valentine's Day decor piece, but we're gonna revamp it for Halloween. So I'm just taking my black chalk paint and painting them out completely black. Now mine, I'm going to be adding a white decal onto the front of one of them. If you don't have a decal, you can also use paint pens and just write on yours. Whatever is easier. I don't have the best handwriting, so I go ahead and use decals most of the time. This is a cute, fun set, especially for our tiered tray. So this summer, I came across this really great basket. I'd never seen them this nice at Dollar Tree before. So grabbed that along with this white cloth that was with their tie-dye sets. It says a DIY cloth on it, and it's about 24 inches square, just about. And it's just a piece of white fabric. Grabbed those, hung on to them, and now they're gonna come in so cute and handy for this ghost candy holder that I'm gonna make. So I just kind of tucked it into the basket, realized it was a perfect size, and then came in with a black fabric marker to create the ghost face. So I found it easier to lay it down flat as I was working on it, and then you can tuck it back into your basket and add all of your goodies and candy to the inside. I couldn't believe these ceramic ghosts were only $1. They also have LED lights in them, which you'll see in just a little bit. But I'm gonna make the quickest Halloween decoration ever. Just using some poster stickers. I grabbed 3 of these ghosts and I'm putting the letters and spelling out boo. So literally you just stick these stickers right onto the fronts of the ghosts. Easy peasy, done in no time. Here's another very simple and inexpensive project. Grab one of these black doormats from Dollar Tree along with one of these bats. The bat is just kind of handy, but you don't have to have it. We're just using him as a template. So I used a white marker to trace the bat onto this doormat and then use some scissors to cut it out. So you can use this in a few different ways. You can use it as an accent piece and layer it on your front doorstep, or you can hang them on the wall. It makes for a really cool and simple, quick Halloween decor piece, and that's what I'm all about. Quick, easy, and inexpensive. And now we're gonna make that decorative piece for the coffee bar. This is one of Dollar Tree's cloches that I found this summer. I believe this is the bigger size. I think they had a smaller size too, and I'm pretty sure this is the bigger size. So I grabbed that, took it apart, and we're gonna put some bats in here. So I'm using my Cricut machine to cut out some cardstock bats, but don't feel like you need a Cricut machine. You can also cut these out by hand. Google bats, you can print them out and cut them out too. And once they were cut and I had them all laid out, I just had 3 in 3 different sizes. I'm using this scrapbooking tape. It's like in a little container thing, and it just rolls right onto your surface. So I put those on the edges of the bat wings and tried my best to secure those up onto the plastic of the dome. And then I also wanted to give it a little bit more texture, so grabbed out some of the Spanish moss that Dollar Tree carries, put a tiny bit in the bottom, put this piece back together, and added it to the Sleepy Hollow coffee bar. We always count down the days until Christmas, but it's also fun to count down the days until Halloween. So this is a foam pumpkin from Dollar Tree that I am painting with chalkboard paint so that we can use it as a countdown board. So all I did is add a couple coats of the chalkboard paint to get good coverage on it before taking a chalk marker in white, of course, and writing days until Halloween. This is actually a little bit more permanent, and then I used a regular piece of chalk as the chalk for actually doing the countdown so that you can erase it and change the number every day. Now, if you can believe it, we're gonna turn this succulent globe into a ghost candy holder. So I am removing that top holder first. It just twists right off and comes apart in two pieces. Of course, ghosts are white, so I'm giving this a couple coats of white chalk paint, which is perfect paint for painting plastic with because it doesn't chip or scratch, and it also dries really quickly too. So once this piece was dry, then I'm gonna come in with some black chalk paint, give him some eyeballs, and I also painted around the opening to create his giant, crazy looking mouth. And then also painted some spiders that had purple on them. I don't know why I didn't like the purple. I just didn't want the purple, so I painted my spiders black, let those dry, and then hot glued those on the top, basically to cover up that big giant hole that was on top of his head, and then added some candy corn into his mouth. Silly and cute at the same time. This is another piece that I found during the summertime at Dollar Tree. It has this little spinny thing in the middle, and it just made me think of Witch in, or the witch is in and the witch is out, and then you could flip it around depending on your mood, I guess. So we're gonna be using the back side of this sign. I'm painting it with white, but I want it to look distressed, so I'm not giving it full coverage. And then I created this printable. If I can find it, I will definitely link it down below. Printed it out on some cardstock, and then it just tore the edges so they were distressed, and it just wasn't looking distressed enough for me. So I came in with some watered down brown acrylic paint and kind of went around the edges, covered it up, just made it look dirty, old, and gunky, the sign too, and then used some Mod Podge once it had all dried to add it to the sign. So a couple tips when Mod Podging is to not skimp on it. You want plenty, but you don't want too much that you have globs. Just make sure it is nicely and evenly spread out before you put your piece on top of there. And of course, you're gonna go back over that to seal it all in. And you just want to kind of go around those edges really well, because those are the parts that are going to want to try to peel back up. So again, don't skimp on it. Just make sure you have an even coat over everything, and go back over those edges a couple times if you need to before moving on to your next piece. Then I also embellished the bottom with a little bit of ribbon just to give it a little bit more style. I definitely don't think you would know this was a summer sign that only cost $1 to make. So as you saw in the start of this video, I have a coffee bar. I love coffee. I also love having matching mugs for all the seasons and holidays to go on my coffee bar. This is a Dollar Tree coffee mug. They're my favorite because they are tall and straight up and down, so it's easy to add decals onto the front of these. So I did one that says trick, one that says treat. You can also use a Sharpie marker or even an oil-based Sharpie marker and bake these. I have a tutorial on how to do that to make these more permanent. If you don't have a vinyl machine, I will link that video down below. But this was a fun little quick project, and you can get creative and put whatever words on here that you want depending on your theme. And here's another mason jar project, but this is kind of a 2-in-1 project. First up, I'm painting out this mason jar in white chalk paint, and we're gonna add another decal onto the front of this that says spooky, and you'll see why here in just a second. So I'm adding that decal right onto the front. It works great on chalk paint, sticks really well. It also doesn't pull the paint up when you go to remove that transfer tape. Again, use a marker if you don't have a decal. So once I have that decal on there, I also wanted to add a little accessory off to the side. So we're gonna make a tassel ghost. So these are styrofoam balls from Dollar Tree along with their twine that you can find in their hardware department. We're gonna use this to make a ghost. So just making a super simple tassel with the string and using the smallest styrofoam ball that they have as the head. And once I had the tassel made, I used a needle to string a little hanger onto the ghost's head so that way I could hang it off the side of some jute that I also tied around the top of the mason jar. He also needed some little eyeballs, so I took a Sharpie marker and drew those in. If you're not quite sure how to create your own tassels, I also have a full tutorial on how easy and simple that is. I will also make sure to link that video down below. I also love these glass cylinders from Dollar Tree because you can do so much with them. We're gonna make one for Halloween. I taped off the top fourth, I would say, of this cylinder, painted the bottom white, and then added some ribbon accent to the bottom of this, just using some hot glue to apply it, and then added another decal onto the front that said Halloween. Then you can add your own decorative pieces with it, make a floral arrangement, add the branches with the bats hanging off of them here too, so you can get really creative and decorate with it however you see fit. I love these little lanterns from Dollar Tree too, but I wanted to add a decal onto this, so I painted this guy out white with my white chalk paint, added a quick decal onto the front, replaced the hardware and the handle to the top. You can put a little tea light in here for some added cuteness. Here's another way to dress up the styrofoam pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I'm just twisting some jute and hot gluing that around the stem, adding a decorative piece of ribbon to the top too, and adding a decal onto the front. You can also put a pumpkin face on here or just leave it plain if you want. Very, very cute, easy, and also looks very high-end. Let me know down in the comments below which one of these projects was your favorite. Also, check the description box for links to products and videos that I mentioned throughout this video. I also would love for you to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you are new. I'll have more projects popping up on your screen that you can check out next. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I will see you in the next one. Happy haunting!